What's up? So if you only have 2 months to shave 2 minutes off your 2 mile run pace, here's what I do. For guys who don't know who I am, my name is Dr. Ray Peralta. I'm a physical therapist and run coach. And I've been working in the field of like human performance, rehab, for the past 10 years now, helping runners, folks of all ability levels improve their fitness, get out of injuries, and get faster. So if you're struggling to shave time off your run test, whether it's for a fitness test, maybe you're trying to get into the Army, Navy, police, some other branch, and you've tried to improve your time, but you find that you can't improve your time, like you're not meeting the cutoff, or maybe you just want to improve your personal best, you can apply what I'm about to share here, whether it's for like the mile, the 2 mile, 3 mile, 5 mile run. The principles are the same, but I'll be talking specifically close to the 2 mile, 1.5 mile run. In this video here, it's no fluff, just doable action that works. And yes, even if you're not, you don't have to be an elite runner, or even if you're a total beginner to this can work for you. So why most runners plateau? First off, you need to understand how not to train. If you're just running, let's say, in this case, a 2 mile, you have a 2 mile test for, to join the Army. You keep doing the 2 mile workout a few times a week, hoping to just get faster. Hate to break it to you, but it doesn't work like that. Now, if you're a complete beginner, you don't do any running at all, yes, you'll improve to an extent. Maybe you'll improve in the first month, maybe 6 weeks or so, but then you hit a roadblock where you're not actually getting faster. Maybe you're stuck and you're like, what the heck? It's because you have to vary your workout, right? Once you get past that complete beginner stage and now you're going to like intermediate type of runner, you have to add variety to your training to break through a plateau, especially if you're trying to actively get faster. Like we're going past the couch stage, or off the couch, you're already able to run, now you have to actually run faster. And if you're wondering how to break this cycle, like you've been jogging, your legs are getting tired, they're just giving out, don't worry, I have a step-by-step strategy coming up. So step one, you have to set clear goals. Right, before you lace up your shoes and trying to like get faster for a fitness test, you have to know your current pace, your current baseline. Right, what's your target? Like what you're currently at. So let's say you test yourself, obviously. So go for like a 2 mile run, see where you're at, and then let's say it took you 20 minutes to do a 2 mile run. That means you have 10 minutes per mile, and then you know that you want to hit 14 minutes for the 2 mile run, which would be 7 minutes per mile. That's your goal pace or your target. So your target pace would then be 7 minutes per mile. So now you know that you're at 10 minutes, and if you need to get to 7, you have to shave 3 minutes off your time. Or maybe you're at 9 minutes and you want to get to 7, that's 2 minutes off your time. Just wherever you're at, you just want to know, how much time you got to shave and what's your goal or target pace. And this is critical. It's interesting. So many candidates just don't meet their fitness goals. They don't even know how to get trained to improve their speed. Like, okay, they have a general idea of where they need to be, but they don't know specifically how that goal time to pass a fitness test breaks down into like smaller intervals. Like, okay, what's the splits, the minute per mile pace, and then how you could apply that to different types of workouts. Next, also look at your weight. This may seem like common sense, but if you're overweight or if you're obese, for sure that's going to have an impact on your ability to run fast, right? If you're an obese person, you're going to have to lose some weight. There are tools like the BMI calculator, which is going to give you your height, and you put in your height and weight, and then you'll see what category. Are you in the obese category, overweight? Are you in normal weight category? Are you underweight? Right? Ideally, you want to be in the normal weight, but if you're in the obese category, then yes, you want to get closer to a normal or healthy weight because you're just going to be able to run faster. Now, if you're one of these like people who kind of look up stuff and like, oh, but Ray, BMI is not that accurate. I heard body fat is more accurate. For sure, if you have access to body fat calculators and tools like the body fat to get your body fat percentage, you could do that too. But you should also know where you're at. Like, just don't think, oh, I got my body fat, it's more accurate than BMI. I would say use both. And if your body fat, is still also over fat, because you can look at this, like, for example, if you're a man watching this, and if your body fat percentage is like 25% or more, even if let's say, or more than that, that's also considered obese. Depending on your age group, you have to look at a data table like, hey, what's body fat for your age and gender group? Regardless, if you're in the obese category in BMI or body fat, you would still benefit to lose some weight to get faster. Next, you also want to have a plan. You want to plan your weekly workouts. You just can't show up and wing it. You want to have a structure to your training, right? If you just randomly go by feel, oh, I feel like going for a run today, and then I feel like doing this work, maybe I don't feel like going for a run for the rest of the week. So like, one, you want to make sure you have enough days planned out per week, at least 3 days a week. Even better yet would be 5 days. Now, if you're a complete beginner, totally understand that it's going to be daunting to jump to 5 days a week. So start with 3 days and then build your way up. And then as a type of workouts, you want to have different types of workouts, right? So track repeat, you go to a track. So you could do, in a standard track, one loop is usually 400 meter, which is a quarter mile. 2 loops or 2 laps would be an 800 meter, which is a half mile. And then you want to take your goal pace, right? So let's say you want to run a 6 minute per mile pace, right? So for a quarter mile, that'd be 90 seconds. And for the half mile, that'd be 3 minutes, right? So you know when you're doing your repeats, your splits, right? Your split's going to be, you're going to try to hit the 90-second split if your goal is to do the 6 minute per mile pace for, let's say, the 2 mile run. And yes, there's different distances and variations of these track repeats. You could do it on a treadmill. You could do this on a road, a track. If you don't have access to a track, so there's variations to this. I just like the track example because it's easy to measure the distance here. Another type of workout is the fartlek training. This is a speed play, Swedish for speed play. So you build your endurance by using intervals, for example, landmarks. So let's say you're running in a wooded area, you kind of sprint to one tree and then you jog the next couple of trees. You just vary it. It's just kind of playing around. Or if you're like in an urban environment, maybe you run to like one street light or one street corner, then maybe you jog and you just kind of vary, go from like slow to fast. And then another variation that I like is actually using calisthenics. So like, okay, you'll run to this benchmark, you'll do a set of push-ups. Then the next benchmark or maybe a tree or something, you'll do some squats or lunges. Or maybe the next one, you'll do some burpees. And you could do different types of calisthenics with your running, which is actually going to improve your fitness as well. This is really good, especially if you're also trying to just overall improve your fitness level, because a lot of these fitness tests, let's say it's like the Navy, where you have to do some push-ups as well, or maybe you have to do sit-ups. So maybe during your run you go stop and do some sit-ups and push-ups. So you want to also incorporate calisthenics, especially a lot of these fitness tests require you to have also upper body strength. Another type of workout you want to do is hill sprints. So hill sprints are very powerful as well to improving your speed. You don't have to do it for a very long duration, only a 20 or 30 second hill sprint, right? Find like an incline where you could sprint up. And then when you go up the hill, you don't have to run down. You could just walk down. So you could save some of your energy, recover by walking down the hill. And also the downhill is actually where a lot of people end up getting these overuse injuries, because downhill running puts a lot of stress on the body. So I'd only leave that for very advanced athletes or very advanced runners. If you're like beginner intermediate, you don't have to go run downhill. You could just walk downhill, save your energy, and then use that energy for the uphill again. If you don't have access to a hill, like maybe you don't live near a hill, you could do stadium stairs or the bleacher stairs by a track. A lot of university and schools just make sure you have permission to use the facility, of course. You could run up and down stadium stairs or do that on a treadmill. You set a treadmill at an incline, maybe a 5 or 10% incline. You run up the treadmill around your goal pace or so. If you can sustain it, if you need to modify it, that's fine. But ideally, you're working hard up the incline on the treadmill, 20-second incline sprint on the treadmill. You hop off the belt, you rest, maybe you rest for like 30 seconds to a minute, then you do it again. So then you would incorporate these workouts, maybe 2 or 3 speed workouts a week. If you're a complete beginner, maybe you start with 1 or 2 speed workouts. The other type of workout I recommend having is a tempo run. So tempo run is where you build up your speed endurance, where you're able to train comfortably hard. You want to train for this type of workout, maybe 20, 30 minutes, maybe even 45 minutes. It depends on your fitness level, but let's say you're training for a 2-mile run. You'll train for like 20 or 30 minutes at tempo pace. Tempo pace just means comfortably hard, maybe a 6 out of 7 from a 0 to 10 scale of difficulty or rating perceived exertion, the RPE scale. And usually about 30 to 60 seconds slower than your goal pace. So let's say your goal split or goal pace is 7 minutes per mile. Maybe you're doing at a 7:30 or an 8 minute per mile pace for a tempo run. It may vary again based on your specific goal and your fitness level. So that's a tempo run, and it's really good for building what's called lactate threshold tolerance. You could tolerate more work before your body starts to give up, like your muscle's ability to process lactate. You're able to deal with that longer, and thus you can maintain race pace for longer so you could hit your desired pace. It's a great workout to at least have 1 tempo run a week. The next one's a long run. You also want, a lot is interesting, so many candidates don't have a long run in their work week for the training week. Say aim for at least 1 day out of the week to do a long run. And for the long run, it's usually like 2 times or 3 times the distance of your fitness test. Let's say your test is a 2-mile run. Your long run should be anywhere from like maybe 4 to 6 miles. Yes, you could go a little higher if you want. I know some people go up to like 9 miles for a long run. But if you're training for a 2-mile race or 2-mile fitness test, 6 miles should be fine, like 3 times the actual distance of your fitness test. That's just going to help build up your aerobic capacity, your heart and lungs, and this actually translates to more speed. So even though you're doing the long run, it's a lot slower. Obviously it's longer, so you're going to go slower. You're going to pace yourself. It's usually like easy pace. If you're more advanced, you could add a little bit of speed work into the long run. But in general, a long run's a great tool that a lot of folks don't add because they don't have the time. Make the time, and one day out of the week do the long run. The next step you want to do is strength training. So strength training is also very important, right? Because strength training it was going to build up your muscles so you could recover between workouts and also make you faster, so you're a more efficient runner. It's interesting. So many candidates I talk to, they'll just do upper body, right? Oh, I'll just do push-ups and bench press because my test, maybe they join the Navy. It's like, oh, it's just push-ups, plank, and the run, right? But you actually strength train your lower body. It sounds like common sense, but yes, you need to strength train your lower body. Exercises like squats, lunges, deadlifts, split squats, and aim to do strength training at least 2 times a week. And if you're short on time, you could fit a full body. You could do upper body, core, and lower body in a full body workout with a single set routine. Pick 8 to 12 exercises. You fatigue at 8 to 12 repetition max. Weight that's moderate to heavy, and then you could just do that 2 strength workouts a week and you'll cover all your bases. And some people may need an additional day or so. Maybe you have like a lagging area, like, you notice that your knees are particularly weak. Maybe you do 3 strength workouts a week, or maybe you do an additional leg day if you notice that, hey, you have a lagging area. Or you're prone to a certain type of injury, because strength training, one, helps you improve your running performance, but also helps you be more resilient and help prevent against future injury. So if you're worried about getting hurt, strength training is a great addition to your plan. And I say it's a must. So don't avoid strength training. Don't use hey, lack of time. Find the time. You can combine the workouts. Maybe do a run workout, maybe do a run interval workout on the treadmill, and then go right to the strength training. And if you need a short rest break, yes, you could rest 5-10 minutes or so, maybe do some foam rolling, some stretching, then go to the strength workout. But you could combine the two. You could do the strength first, then the run, or the run first, and the strength. It doesn't really matter too much. I know some people like to debate these things, but if you're not an elite runner, it really doesn't matter if you're like the general person who's just trying to pass a fitness test. Next, you also want to focus on recovery. It seems like also common sense, but you want to sleep at least 7 hours a night. Now, some people may need closer to 9 hours a night. Just make the time for recovery, but at least 7 hours a night of sleep, 7.5 hours. And don't let poor habits, because people say, oh, I don't have time to sleep. I only sleep 6 hours a night. Very few people can get away with 6 hours a night unless you have, a special gene that allows you to get by on 6 hours a night. For the most part, most people need closer to 7 hours or more. And it's usually they're just doing things like on their phone, they're doom scrolling social media, right? When you're doom scrolling, right, that's going to cut into your recovery. It seems like common sense, but so many people go on their devices or phones or playing games or watching movies or TV or going into bed. They're like, oh, I'm just going to stay up and watch another episode. And that takes away from your sleep. And now you're sleep deprived and you just did it to yourself, right? So just make time for sleep. And then, yes, if you have very young kids, yes, I understand the kids can interrupt your sleep for sure, but add some naps during the day. So if you can add a recovery nap, maybe a 20-minute or a 30-minute nap, maybe a little nap after your lunch break, right? Have a little nap to make up if your sleep's being interrupted, or if you just need the additional nap for recovery. Nutrition is also very important as well. So make sure you're eating enough food, right? A healthy, balanced diet. We all know what this is, right? Fruits and veggies, lean proteins, right? It's not rocket science that you just got to eat healthy. I know there's different experts who have different ideas on what's the optimal diet, but again, it's essentially, most experts will agree, it's whole, unprocessed foods. It's not stuff that's like potato chips or Twinkies and stuff. We're talking about fruits and veggies, having enough quality lean proteins. If you're going to track anything, I would say protein, at least 0.65 to 1 gram per pound of body weight, because the protein is going to be very important for you to help you rebuild and recover between workouts, because if you're not getting enough protein, it's going to be hard for you to recover. Hydration is also very important. So many people are just dehydrated, so making sure you're drinking to 96 to 128 ounces a day, so anywhere from 3 to 4 liters of water, fluids a day. And yes, you could combine water with electrolytes, maybe some sea salt or electrolyte powder. If you're in a hot environment, you just need the additional salt intake because you're, sweating way too much. That's understandable as well. And yes, there's some electrolytes that you can make your own concoctions with coconut water, and there's lots of recipes out there you can look up. But as a general rule, eat a whole, healthy diet, fruits and veggies and lean proteins. And if you're eating junk food, this is also your cue. Stop eating junk food because junk food's going to slow you down. If you eat a bunch of junk food, right, cheeseburgers, milkshakes, French fries, and that's your regular diet, you're like, oh, I can't get faster. Well, stop eating so much junk food. I mean, when I was younger, I was guilty of this myself when I was in my teens. So when I was trying to get into the Marine Corps, I'm actually, for guys who don't know who I am, I'm also a Marine veteran. I was in the Marines when I was very young. I actually enlisted when I was 17 years old with my parents' permission. But I remember, being one of these young kids, like eating a bunch of junk food. But then, though I had a fast metabolism, the junk food still slowed me down. Like I obviously still felt better when I ate clean foods. It doesn't mean you can never have the junk food, but really try to eat clean foods, especially if you're trying to get faster or if you're trying to lose weight. And then track and adjust your progress, right? Every week, track your progress. Hey, did you meet the workouts that you said you're going to meet? Use apps, right? You could use different running apps. You could use fitness tracker apps, Apple Watch, Garmin Watch, Chorus Watch, whatever. Track your run workouts, track your splits, your paces. Are you hitting the splits for your speed workouts? Right, and if you're not, okay, what do you have to change? Well, you ask yourself a couple questions like, hey, were you well rested? Were you, really trying as hard as you can? Were you distracted? Were you trying to watch TV or talk to a friend? Right, you should really be focused if you're going to work out. Like that should be the thing you're focusing on. Don't be getting distracted. Like, oh, I'm going to answer this. I'm going to go on a FaceTime and then start slowing down because you're having a leisurely conversation doing a speed workout. Again, this is something else. You're like, wait, this should just be common sense. But yes, some people sometimes slow themselves down because they're trying to multitask or distract themselves. Like, oh, I'm going to take a selfie or talk to a friend, whatever. Talk to your friend after the workout. We're doing the rest breaks. Don't distract. I actually recommend just focus on the full workout, do the workout in its entirety, and then do whatever else you want to do. But really focus. And when you focus, you could actually work hard and reach and hit the splits that you aim to hit. And if the splits are too far out of your reach, let's say you're running 10 minutes per mile and you set a goal to hit like a 7 minute per mile split, but that split is way too out of your capacity. Maybe you go from 10 to 8 minute per mile, and maybe it's a more realistic goal for you, right? Or maybe 10 to 9. Like if you're doing a speed workout and you can't keep up, you may just have to adjust the splits because maybe it was too unrealistic when you first set it. So the most common obstacles, right? So many people think it's just a lack of knowledge, but let's face it, folks. You can get this knowledge. Now we got the internet, we got YouTube, we got experts like myself talking about how to improve your speed. So it's not usually the lack of knowledge. It's actually the lack of consistency or discipline. See, a lot of people just don't have the discipline to stick with something long enough, to work hard enough to actually, get faster, reach whatever goal they have, right? So the lack of discipline or consistency is the number one roadblock. When you're not consistent, obviously you're not going to meet your goals, right? If you just run once or twice and then you drop off, then you come back, and then if you look back in the last month, you only did 2 or 3 run workouts, that's not enough, right? Yes, you're not going to have great, perfect workouts every day, but it's about showing up day after day, putting in the hard work, being consistent week after week, and not just falling off because, you're not feeling motivated to do it. If it is something that's a priority for you, you should prioritize, set the time aside, and block it off and make it happen, right? So stay consistent and obviously troubleshoot, make adjustments. But it is possible I've helped athletes shave anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes off their run time, like a 2-mile run, in just 2 months. It's definitely possible, but yes, it does require hard work. And if you need expert guidance on how to do this, click below to access my free training that kind of walks through on how to shave time off your run time. And this can be applied to the 1.5 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile run, even a 5 mile run. And if you're really like, hey, I need additional support, need additional guidance, there's also an option there. So you could book a call and we could talk on a strategy call, how we can help you run faster and ace that fitness test.